What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
As we'll see.
And welcome to yet another episode of the Acromas Podcast, episode 30. 30. We've been doing this for 30 weeks straight. 30 weeks straight.
Big 3-0.
Wow. That's consistency, right?
Yes.
We already told them that we were going to do this. We told them that we were always going to keep coming with these gems. We're going to keep hitting it. We're going to keep producing. We're going to keep growing.
Yeah.
You're going to keep growing with you. We're going to keep getting better. We're going to keep improving. And we're here to stay. So here we are, episode 30.
Another
one. Happy Sunday to all the Acromas crew out there, the Acromas community, and anyone who is new to the Acromas podcast. I need you to subscribe, like, hit that notification bell on the right side of your screen, because whenever you get a new Acromas podcast video, you'll be able to be one of the first ones to see it. It'll pop up on your feed. You can get these gems, and these gems are not only great, they're not only helpful, they won't only just build your life up, but
subscribing is free. So it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe with us. It doesn't cost you anything to get these gems.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
How we give, I still don't know. It's been 30 straight weeks, and I still don't know how we're giving this away for free.
Yeah, we have a vault of gems, as we like to call it now.
There are people who would charge thousands of dollars, thousands, to have some of these conversations we're having.
Well, you know, we genuinely want the best for people. We want people to be the best version of themselves as they can be. We want people to grow with us. Look, we're building a vault now, as we said before. But we've been doing this for a decade plus. We're just documenting it now, if you will, to share with our community and folks that has been supportive over the years of knowing how we are, and that when we made the decision that let's push this to the next level, as we were emphasizing leading up to it, when it happened, like it happened. So please subscribe if you're new here. Thank you again. As Jay said, we love to have you have you here, have you grow with us, have you invest into you. And that's what's really important, that part of it. And there's so many ways that you can start by doing that. You can go back to episode 1 where you were seeing us going through the growing pains of trying to figure this part of it out.
Look, if you go back there, look, understanding that was the very first one we put out there. You know, just keep your comments to yourself. Be nice. You know what I'm saying? No cyberbullying. Hashtag stop bullying.
Hashtag stop bullying.
Be kind. Hashtag be kind.
Be kind and grow through that, because through each episode and content we deliver, there's definitely always gems in there. As we're not just saying it because we're delivering it. This is feedback we receive from our community. Absolutely. You know, where it's made a difference constantly and continuously will. And we love what we do, as we were discussing in last week's episode, reference to passion equaling profit.
Boy. So, I mean, going back to that episode, man, it's like we got some feedback there where, you know, some people, I personally think they felt a little bit slighted, because they're like, well, man, I'm an artist. I feel as though I'm great. You know, I was making some dollars on the side. I may not be making millions, but I'm happy and I profited and I'm winning. Look, shout out to you, because you're grinding. Shout out to you, because these are the times that you got to remember once you do hit it big. It was never a thing to say that even if you're doing something in a heavily saturated industry, that you won't get your time to shine. You make your time, right? The amount of investing you do in yourself, the amount of promoting you do, the amount of, you know, getting your art, getting whatever you have a passion for in front of the right people will get you that profit immediately. Now, it takes a lot longer if you're in an industry that's saturated and you have work from the bottom all the way up. So the key thing that we wanted for you to focus on was staying patient, remaining patient through those times, knowing that you're going to weather the storm, because eventually you're going to get there. Right. Only the people who quit are the ones that don't succeed.
Very true.
Only the people who quit. You stick with it. You work with it. You continue to grow, because you don't stay at that same spot, because you're not going to win there. There's no winning down there. That's where it's comfortable. That's where winning comes from growth. You got to be ready for winning. You got to be prepared for it. And once you hit it that first time, it becomes easier each and every time, because you know what's expected. You know what it looks like, you know what it feels like, and you want more and more of it.
Yeah.
So again, just keep working at it. Passion will equal profit once you are the best at what you do, you love what you do, and you're successful at what you do.
Yeah, I think you put that well. All I can do is recap. You have to adapt, adjust, evolve through that process.
Yep.
Like anything else you do in life,
Yep.
because that's constantly what you're doing.
Absolutely.
And in this particular venture and what we're discussing, that's really important to understand and to know you're going to hit those moments where it requires true breakthrough, but just consistency along the way as you level up.
Yeah.
So I think, Jay, you put that really well. I don't want to kick a dead horse. So
I don't like dead horses either.
No,
they stink. But no, I'm glad we were able to recap that. And we're glad that we're getting this feedback, that we're getting these comments. That means that we're growing. That means that you're listening. That means that you're a part of this community, as we want you to, as we are pushing you to be part of this community. Continue to message us, continue to DM us, continue to reach out. We are on YouTube, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on TikTok. I mean, we're on Spotify. We're literally everywhere you can hear podcasts or see podcasts. We are there.
Yeah.
We're there.
Yeah.
You just got to find us. You got to keep listening, keep building upon those gems. And look, everything that we put in these podcasts, we are expecting you to use some of these gems that we talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of these. So, I mean, look, tonight is a perfect episode for you to grab your notebook, sit in a quiet spot, stay away from all the distractions that are around you, because this is your time.
Yeah.
What we are about to dive into is time that is going to be needed for you, yourself, and understanding the art of self-love.
Yeah. So remember, guys, for last week, and newcomers, we took a poll, and the choice of topic was, again, as Jay said, the art of self-love. And personally, I was hoping it was going to be that one.
Sense it. So, and you said the same thing. I mean, you came back to us. You let us know exactly what you wanted to hear.
Yeah,
and we're going to deliver it to you the best way we know how to.
Absolutely. But before we get started in that, we have other ways that we could deliver and express ourselves through the Acromas merchandise. Check that out.
If you have not been to the Acromas store, there's still time. The summer is not over. Your hot bod is not over. Your summer of you has not ended yet.
No, not quite.
So go to theacromasstore.com. Get yourself one. Look at that. Look at that.
Can you see
if
that,
you
guys?
Are listening to this, you're missing out on one of the sleekest looking phone cases out there. Just look at that logo.
Yeah.
Look how proud this man is when he pulls his phone out of his pocket. When anybody in the room's like, yo, I need a phone. Hey, can somebody get a phone? I got you.
We got you covered.
Boom, right there.
What a gorgeous case cover.
Oh, that
and
is beautiful.
The beautiful part about it is this one seems to be kind of multicolor fascinated depending on where you are. So I've seen it at times. It's like it's this metallic color now.
Look at that. It's changing.
It's changing colors, and it's green at times.
What green?
I've seen like a green around it too. So it's dope.
Well,
I've had people ask me about it.
Yeah,
seriously. I have people they pop it out. They ask me about it, and I tell them where to go. I give them the code reference, and or even they catch me with this
look at
beautiful
that.
flask that I have, as you guys seen before. And to those who are listening on Spotify or elsewhere in radio, we definitely have a variety of options of ways you could support the Acromas brand and help us build and grow with it. And we look forward to you sharing that with us. Send us in pictures, DM us when you purchase, right? It's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And it works. Let me tell you something. This flash in particular, it keeps everything in it cool and everything.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it's legit.
Yo, quick question.
Yeah.
Did you, when you bought that, did you use promo code HOTBOD?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What happened when you did that?
Oh, I got 20% off. Like legit 20% off of that. Hey, look, guys, my little ones, I got them shirts as well. If you go check out my IG at @CamCoolBreeze_87, like my page is public. You can follow it, see the content I put on it personally as well.
Wow.
My little ones, like we went out to the park. all three of us, we were repping the Chrome's brand. We had people stop and just like look at us and just like talk to us and just was talk to me. It was like, yo, like, hey, this is like, wow, what is that? And I just explained a little bit to them. I told them where they could follow us. I told them where they could purchase the items. And you know, and I told them, you know, hey, if you know, when you do, and if you're on IG, just you know, hit us up. Like, let us know that if you like what you see, purchase it. It's no different than any other brands that are out there, and everyone support them. So why not support people that you do know?
Yeah,
because that's a big thing. That's a topic of something maybe one day we'll talk about, supporting your you know, people, you know, your support system.
Yeah.
But all in all, please check out our store, guys. Check it out. And again, if you do purchase something, please let us know.
Yes.
DM us, let us know so that we can showcase it with the community and with the world that you really are a part of the process of what we're promoting and pushing out there, which is something that's healthy. It's healthy habits. It's something good.
And when you let us know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes.
We want to know a little story about you. Give us a nice quote that keeps you going. We, again, want our community to grow. It's a community. It's community. We don't just have a page on IG that we're putting stuff out on. We don't just sit down and put these podcasts together to hear ourselves speak. This is a community we're building, community of like-minded people who are looking for sustainable habits to live a more fulfilling life. Why wouldn't anybody want to do that?
You know, everyone has a choice. And, you know, to speak on that, which is why it was really dope that we get into the topic of self-love, the art of self-love per se.
Art of self-love.
So, Jay, let's go ahead and kick that off. You know, so let me ask you, like, with self-love, like, how does like that look to you? You know, like, how does it feel to love yourself? And when you perceive the idea of it, what is that to you?
Man, to me, I think it's knowing how much you're worth. And it's tough to really put that into words, because you know, when you think about self-love, a lot of the times it can get confused with just, you know, with some type of narcissism or a bravado or some over the top self-confidence, where you're just, look, I'm untouchable, I'm on God's sphere right now, and no one can rock with me. But I think the beauty of it is understanding how far you've come from to where you are now, and the growth that has to happen along the way. And I think a lot of the times many people aren't too privy of the growth that has to happen in order for you to get to the point where you're like, I know how much I'm worth. I know I matter. I know how worth it I am. I believe in myself to be able to do great things. And I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. I know where I stand in my own life. So anything outside of that can't touch me, because I'm protected by myself, with my own strength, with my own cover, with the growth that I've gone through and the growth that I continue to go through. So I think at least for me, self-love has this appearance of, I know exactly how much I'm worth, and I won't settle for anything less than that. So I think it's important to understand how that looks. And I think for some, again, I know I talked about this just now, but there, you know, a lot of people get it confused with, I am better than everybody else. Nobody can touch me. I'm never wrong. I love myself too much to be able to care about anybody else's feelings above my own, even if I may exhibit destructive patterns that I may not even be aware of. And I think sometimes that may happen to some people, where they may confuse self-love with this sort of form of self-indulgence. Like, I have to, it's about me.
Yep.
It is my time, and screw anybody else who gets in my way.
Yeah.
And personally, that is not, for me, that's not self-love. I don't think that's what the art of self-love looks like.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's what love at all looks like. I think there's an overcompensation there for something that maybe that person is not, they don't understand exactly what they're going through. And that is their way of continuing to fight against the growth that they need to have. So I personally, I think that self-love is something that it takes time to acquire. There is definitely a growth period that you need to go through, but once you get there, it is something that you are able to share. It is a vibe that you put out into the world where everybody else is attracted to that feeling that they get when they're around you.
Yeah, that's well put. I think that's really well said, Jay. Wow. Like, if I had to ask myself that question, I feel like it's the ability to identify in yourself how to embrace selflessly compassion and patience with yourself, to nurture yourself, to allow yourself to feel the most deepest parts, the most vulnerable parts of your being, and to say it's okay. And take your time to grow with that. You see, a lot of the times what I've realized is that we are really more prone to approach that based on the observation of how others perceive what we should be, how we should proceed with our lives, how we should move. And it distorts our ability to love ourselves properly.
So you think it gets into the way of the process?
It can. It can, because we are still learning ourselves every day at all times. And who I am today, I may not have the same thought process heading into tomorrow. Because I definitely don't have the same thought process as yesterday. Right. Because I really only have my now. So and who I was a year ago, honestly, I'm not that same person now. And it's like, that's where the most work of maintaining the art of self-love comes in. But it requires you to be in such a level of truth with yourself, to be vulnerable and honest with yourself in a way that you can't set for anyone else, because you can fool the masses, but when you are facing the reflection of you, you can't fool you. You can put you off. You can put the thought process, whatever you're feeling off, and you can delay it even, but it's inevitable.
You can't fool yourself.
When you get to the point where if you haven't been doing the proper work in yourself, that emotional confliction will surface and it will consume you.
So what happens at that point? Because then I feel as though people may want to crawl back into themselves and say, well, it's not me. I'm not the problem. Right? I love myself. I know who I am. I love who I am. It's not me. They're the problem. That person is the problem. What happens then? How could somebody to themselves, when they're in that stage, come to grips with themselves and say, you know what, damn it, I need some improvement here?
When you choose to rid yourself of the false sense of denial, it is when you are ready to be held accountable for your decision making. At the end of the day, and I say this all the time, but we all have choices to make. There is not a thing we don't do that doesn't have a ripple effect based on the decision we've made. The inevitability of where we go might be what it is, but how we get there is up to us. And I do believe there are alternatives to the decisions we make that can maybe kind of adjust whatever path we decide to go down. Right. So, today I can get up and I have a job, but if I decide that I don't want to work today and I don't call, I no show or anything like that, that does not go well in my favor to retain that job by the end of business day. Ripple effects of the decision I made, but at the end of the day, ultimately was my choice again. Right. So it's like, it's really that simple, where everything you do, the outcome is up to you. So in this particular point where it's the outside of life itself and the gift of creation of what you have to be here, that's the biggest thing, is yourself, is you. So when you mask it with any and everything else, you are a snowball of destruction. And unfortunately, you affect those along the way. You can do more harm in thinking that you are doing others justice by being what you think they need you to be rather than being yourself. And that is what we see every day. That is what, to me, it should be viewed as a pandemic, because it's terrible.
It is.
It's unfortunate because
it affects so many
it
people.
does. and the problem is because, look, there's no script to properly loving yourself in that regard. You learn along the way what's best for you in your season of now. So if you're not willing to do that much for you, then you'll really never know your worth, and you will never be the best you can be for you, not anyone else.
Right.
Because you're living at the standards and the means of society and others, and what's dictated to be perceived as what's right for you. And that's not where we need to be. This is what we're pushing to break for people. This is what we're trying to identify in the way of learning the path of self-love, and to not just learn it, but to retain and to sustain that part of you as you grow, because it's going to change. Because when you start facing these life events, as we call them, what do you do if you don't have substance? Albeit confirmations of like building correct affirmations for yourself. This is why it's important to take the time to work on you before you start investing your time into anyone else in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Because we can't begin to give advice on anything that we're not doing the work on currently.
Right.
Right. So we're not experts in these fields. However, we are learning along the way in ways that has been successful and that are healthy and may be an alternative route for you, or at the very least, open your mind span to be ready for change for you. And that's the biggest part of this. You know what I'm saying?
And there's nothing better than learning in real time or experiencing that in real time, because look, life changes, societies change, people grow, things change in general. So I think if you're hearing it from somebody who is really going through it right now, it's like, well, man, I can base my life off of the same experiences because we are both experiencing it in real time.
Right.
So it's much different than something you could read or hear about, back from the 90s or the 80s or something, or whenever, even yesterday, because yesterday was different from today. And as you continue to grow, as you continue to learn, you pick up these gems along the way, you pick up experience along the way, and you start then you then build the ability to really take the time out and look within yourself and see, okay, these are the things that I now need to get to. I passed this point. I'm beyond this now. I've grown from here, but man, I need some work here. So let me dive into it without trying to do too much at one time.
Right.
So I think it takes time to grow. It takes time to get to that point. And it really does take experience to recognize exactly when you're on that right path of truly, truly loving yourself.
Yeah.
And I think, in terms of trying to get to the point of staying there, right? You mentioned sustaining that.
Yes.
And I think that's important because you can experience it. Anybody can experience it in a day or a month. But what happens when you go through the crappy parts of your life? What happens when you feel unpretty? What happens when you feel like you're no longer the belle of the ball and you're down on your luck, or you feel like you've been in the same spot that you were before? What can you do to take the time out to learn yourself then? Like what is somebody's next step? Let's say, for example, I'm feeling really great about myself. I'm practicing my affirmations. I understand where I am now versus where I used to be. There was a lot of growth that happened there, but now I'm struggling to understand what is next for me. Where should I go if I'm stuck? What should I do?
I would say, from experience, first, identify in you, like, to tell yourself enough that it's okay to be vulnerable where you are, because that's where a lot of it, in my opinion, comes from vulnerability. Like, you're in a place where you're not comfortable. Because even as you're growing and you're doing the work and learning how to properly love yourself,
Sure.
you're bare. You're vulnerable the entire time, and it is not a comfortable feeling. Let's be clear here. I hope I haven't misconstrued it that at all, or we haven't at this point. The process of growth, in a lot of cases, is a painful one, and it's gonna hurt because you're being raw and honest to yourself to the degree that you're holding yourself accountable through that process of being vulnerable. So you're gonna hit those walls when you're not your best self, and you feel like there's chinks in your armor, but really those are areas of opportunity to grow through. Those are areas that you need to work through. You know what I'm saying? That even before we started recording today, there was things that we were discussing, and there was a moment of things that I had that things got to me a certain kind of way, and it was a oh crap moment. But you know, having a good support system, and then also you know, recognizing that I'm vulnerable in this moment. It's okay. It's okay. Is what I told myself. It's okay. You've been here before. This is a part of growing through what you're going through. Let the emotions be what it needs to be, so you can assess and adapt and evolve and grow through what that is, so that you can identify. So in those moments, it pulls you back to the basics of what you started with, right? When I started with those affirmations and like identifying my why, my purpose, because in that moment, Jay, that's what I felt. I went back to my why, so that I won't revert back into what wasn't for me as to why I was feeling what I was feeling a little early anyway. So
you established that point, and you're like, all right, I need to stop here.
In that moment, in these moments, like as you're going through it, you having these conversations with yourself, but you're being real. You don't mask it. You don't run away from it. You let it come. And you pull from your tools that you've developed to help you through those difficult moments, because they're going to come whether you like it or not. Look, we'll go into details, but for me, when it happened, I was really vulnerable in that moment, and I didn't expect it. And when it happened, it was like, okay, I pulled through my resources of what I've been building on to help me process and compartmentalize the emotions of what was happening at the moment, because I was able to identify why it was happening, and then go back to my purpose to help me overcome the moment. And now it's history, but I can move forward with what that was and identify what's the next step for me in that process. Regroup, adjust, adapt, evolve, move forward, grow through what you're going through. So in those instances, for people like they're dealing with those scenarios, maybe through this episode right now or through this past week that you had that happen, hey, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to work through those emotions, but it's very important to identify what's for you through your affirmations to help you get through these difficult moments, because they're gonna be there. That's life. And look, if you're able to prevail through those moments, it's going to make the joyful moments even more, you know, because like I was sharing with Jay, I had a moment through Art of Self-Love where I had like a mental health check moment, where mental health day, where I was like, yo, you know what? I am not my best self. I'm really not my best self today. And I need a me moment. So I need to adjust what that's like. And on the day when it was happening, I wasn't feeling great, but then I made decisions which led to me having a very beautiful day. So I said, wow, I am not my best self today. And here I was still was able to experience a day full of joy and to embrace it, knowing I wasn't my best self, but to appreciate the fact that I'm alive, to be in the moment. And it made me feel better. Because and just thinking about those affirmations and everything I was pulling from, I said, oh, okay, in this moment, for me, you know, I'm trusting in my faith, and I'm protecting my state of being, and I'm loving me first because I matter. Because at the end of the day, we are so damn worth it. And I know earlier you referenced about, you know, overindulging into what that part of it is, or like the misconception of what it is to truly love yourself. Because again, we all have a bit of narcissistic tendencies, you know, and there is a form of selfishness to a degree of how you deliver it. For me, it's through my affirmation of protecting yourself, of your state of being, because you can overexert yourself and personally in my personal day-to-day life, this month alone, I've overexerted myself when I haven't been my best self for others, and it's drained me. And it left me in a place where I got to a vulnerable state a little earlier. And I said, you know what? It's okay, because now, as we were saying, you know, I'm going into that mental part of the depths of me, and I got my hammer and I got my nails, and I'm just putting me back in better condition so that I can be a better, stronger, harder me in this new season that's coming.
So sometimes it is okay to be selfish with your time.
With your time, because that's a part of the art of self-love in yourself, of you're being selfless enough, but you have to regroup in you to make time for yourself to be your best self, because you can't be anything for anyone if you're not loving yourself properly. Because what happens is you become this snowball of destruction, and you ramp it through everything in your way unintentionally at times. And it's because you're so confusing yourself that you can't identify right from wrong of when you're hurting other people along the way. And I will say honestly, for this summer, I've been a victim of that from certain folks. And I'm like, dang, certain people kind of blindsided me in certain ways. And I'm growing through that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm mature enough, emotionally mature enough that I understand, may not agree with their decision of how they go about things, but I understand where you are. But now I got to protect my state of being because of where you are, because I can't have your spikes keep piercing me. And I got to keep going through this part because I'm not learning through it. Because at the end of the day, it was a choice to be there for these people. Right. Absolutely. Again, accountability. So I'm owning it for me to work through whatever I'm feeling and going through, so that I can be stronger as I move forward, identify things better, to pour into my affirmations, to make sure I don't repeat certain things that's not for me, because who you are in this season, who they are in this season may not be what you need for each other as you grow in separate different ways. And it's okay to be that way. It doesn't mean you don't have love for people anymore. You just give love from a distance and assess to where you are and where they are, and are you for one another, you know, because at the end of the day, it's really important to know self-worth, to know that you're so damn worth it. And if you got to break tides at times to be a better you overall for the greater good of everyone that's important to you, then you got to do what must be done.
And sometimes that can be very difficult.
It's painful.
It is.
It's so painful to identify, because again, we get to a place where things are familiar and it's comforting. And we attach to things in the place where we're most vulnerable, in that state I was mentioning earlier. And that vulnerability becomes a void. It becomes this not so good place. And again, it snowballs, and then you wrap and engulf others into your confusion of whatever is going on in you, because you couldn't isolate you to give yourself the time you needed to have that moment of self-reflection and build through that. And then when you're at a place when you're able to compartmentalize the emotions, to have emotional maturity stated conversations with folks, to reach out about what you're feeling or what you're dealing with, or whatever issue you have with this individual, whatever that is, you know, if you don't do the work, you won't be at a good place to have it, because then it becomes confusing, because then it becomes toxic. And then all you know is how to communicate verbally through the form of toxicity, and you don't know how to really respect and appreciate someone else's opinion about how to love you the right way, because you don't know how to love you the right way. So then it's just not a good place to be overall. So, you know, if you're able to kind of focus on that, it'll help you identify, as I'm learning, how I used to be as opposed to where I'm at now, because it's helping me to kind of dictate my next direction. And that's earlier what happened, what was going on through before we started recording. And going into this episode, guys, look, we're always raw, we're always honest, and we're always going to give you that sincerity, because we all have these emotions, things we go through at all times. So it's important to share these parts of us and share what that is like, because we're human. And again, at the end of the day, what are we doing this podcast for? Growth. We see growth and change. So in discussing these things, it's important to let that be known, because for me personally, it's helped, even as we're discussing this conversation now, to identify those things, because I know where I'm at, where I'm adjusting, and I'm going to adapt through my, affirmations and reassess them to see, is it for me right now in the season where I'm headed, so that I don't lose my way. I don't wear this. I wear this, for those who can see, I always have this cross compass with me. And I've had people ask me why, and I never really had a chance to really explain that. I wear this to remind me through my self-reflection in the mirror to never lose my way in life again, to never forget who I am, to never forget my purpose, because we know what it's like to be lost. And unfortunately, a lot of folks out there are still in that place, because they refuse to find themselves or to try. And when I get into these moments, for me personally, I can't do that. And I hold on to this, and I wear it. You see me all the time with it, because this represents that for me. It's symbolic. So when I have this on me, this is my way of expressing my art of self-love and will, and we'll see, and William, for whoever know me as however you know me.
Right.
This is why I have this, and it's important to me to wear this cross compass and what it represents to me, and get into a place where you put in the work to be able to identify and to find things to hold you into your purpose, so you don't lose it. So it's a part of the affirmation. It's a part of the structure. It's a part of developing methods to continuously love yourself.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever shared that with you per se. I never shared why I have this.
Never knew that.
Yeah, so I don't wear it for show. I genuinely have this because it's a meaning.
Yeah.
So you as you go through the process, guys, you have to be honest again with yourself. Be selfless in the process. Be patient. Be kind. Be compassionate with yourself, because we give that out effortlessly to everyone else unless we're in a place of pure hatred in oneself, which is because we don't know who we are.
Oh, that looks ugly.
That is rough. It is rough because we abuse ourselves the most. So be patient, guys. Love yourself the right way.
God, that word patience.
Patience
you can apply that to so many different things in life, man.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, even in our last episode with passion and profit, I mean, patience, right? There's another P in there. Like you literally, and it's easier said than done, right? I mean, God, we always talk about patience, whether it's getting a new job, trying to find the right one for you, the right life partner for you, self-love. Like you can apply that to so many things. But once you have patience and that time comes, that moment comes for you, you understand it, you are ready for it, and you know how to deal with it because of the growth that you have to go through prior to getting there.
Absolutely.
So that all those stages that you have to go through are important. I for one, for me personally, what I've done recently is I've just been journaling, man. Whenever there's something that I'm feeling, I always ask myself, I write down the question at the beginning of the day. How do you feel? Right? So I go through the day, everything that happens through the day happens to me. But then I come back and I write exactly how I felt during that day, how I started, how I'm feeling now. And it's really helped me to be open with growth. It's helped me to be more understanding with myself. It's helped me to be more patient with myself. And know that, look, this isn't a race, it's a marathon, right?
Yes.
And you really just, you have to build up that endurance in order for you to continue to keep going. And it does take time, it does take effort, it takes a lot of pushing, takes patience, it takes a great support system around you.
Yes.
But you'll get there. You will get there. Life is precious. Life is crazy sometimes, but the way that you live it will be the way that it brings it back to you. I think when whatever you put out there, it'll come back to you. And your subconscious will be the thing to work that in for you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something that a lot of us can see or feel or experience, but it's there, especially if you're in tune with your subconscious. You're like, I know why this is happening. I know why I'm here now.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this. Like, I can feel it. It's different.
Yeah.
I have put in the work to get to this point. So whatever you put out there will come back. You just got to recognize it.
Yeah. I think that's well put. This is one of those subjects where the art of self-love, there are different, as you can see, there are variations, so many different methods of how to develop it. But I hope you picked up on a key thing as the way we're going about it different methods has been shared on both ends.
Yep.
You know, and that's what Jay pointed out was a beautiful way to displaying that, because when I was going through the beginning of recognizing my healing in my traumas, that's a big portion of what I did do too, was write down my emotions, like write down what it was. And another thing that I would do like the pros and cons list of how I felt. I would list 10 things that I need that I liked about myself, or that was about the day, so that I can learn how to address how I feel good about myself. Because I would never do that. Like I would never, put me in a light, or someone would say something or give me a compliment. I would have a hard time accepting it. To be honest with you, there's still times I still do that unintentionally. Where I'm just like, and then I catch myself and I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Because it was something that was foreign to me, because I didn't love me enough. So it's a constant thing where it's like to accept certain things. So, journaling is a wonderful way to do that. Listening to podcasts as you're doing now is another method, because that's what I was doing initially. Unbeknownst at the time that we would really move forward to this degree. We discussed it, but and to be in a healthy state to be able to have conversations about things. So it's like, you develop these tools, these methods as you go along, and there's no script to it. You just kind of identify it as you go, and you're like, oh, you know what? This resonates with me, my being, and let me go with this, and then see where it is with it. Like, with fitness and everything, like with us, that's part of who we are. And even through my fitness is like, help me build some of those affirmations. And, even with the concept of where I'm headed next, where Jay's headed next, like we have tools under our belt to kind of help us, and a support system in each other and others that, are close confidants and whatnot. Like, and we're here for you guys too, and I really want to open the floor for that for a moment, to like say, hey, if you really do, if you're at a place where you feel like you don't have anyone, this is why this is an open floor. It's an open community where we have it also on Facebook, where we have a community, pit listed, where you can join and have open topic and discussions about things. And, we really want to drive that home. And if you have questions, to not be afraid to ask the question that you need to help you be better for you. So, where we are in this part of the episode, I feel like we can go on and on with this, but I think this is something where we will need to address in the future. And maybe in that instance, we'll probably have a guest on or so, where we can get another perspective of methods of someone who is going through the art of self-love, and what their methods and steps were that may be different than ours. So who knows, at that point, ours may have evolved, hopefully too, in some ways. So, it's the beauty of what we're doing, where we don't shy away from rediscussing certain topics, and we won't as we grow, because it's a process of evolution. So, we will definitely revisit this. I feel like it's a definitely wonderful episode. I'm glad you guys voted on the poll for this one, and
this was fun to do.
Yeah, this has been a good one. So Jay, I guess we should open up the floor to everyone else, right?
Absolutely. Look, we always come back to the community because we love the community. We appreciate you, member of the community, and all of anybody who's listening or watching. We thank you again for taking part in this. We're only going to continue to grow from here. But in order for us to grow, we need to get to know you more, right? It's part of the community. So right now, we want you. Tell us a story. Tell us what self-love looks like to you, right? You heard what it looks like to Will C, looks like to J.H. Gibbons. We want to hear from you. The best story will be featured on the Acromas podcast page and at the beginning of next week's episode. That's different. That's different. We're like, all right, we'll put you on your page, you'll have a post, but no, we're going to talk about it.
Yes.
There's going to be a portion in the beginning of next week's episode to discuss your story.
Yes.
Imagine that. Where else did they do that?
We do it here. We do it here.
You're at the right place. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to the new folks, actually. Just the new. Because if you've been here and you still don't know what we are about, you still don't know how to spell our brand out, you still aren't fully entrenched in these videos, you aren't picking up the gems that are being put down, I don't know what to say about you.
or subscribing, guys, because there are a lot of folks out there watching that still hasn't subscribed. We've been telling you that it's free. It is free to subscribe. It's not going to bite you. It's not going to do anything to harm you. It's just going to enable you to get these gems of such as what we've shared today and more as we build into the vault of gems the Chroma's way. So please definitely share, like, subscribe, pass the content on. You can send it in via text message to someone. You can share it that way. You can share it through IG. You can watch our content as well through Facebook. You can go on there. As you said, we have our community, our page. It's so many different ways you can watch our content and reach us directly that at this point, if you are watching, Jay says it every week, but I got to agree with him at this point. What are we doing? What are we doing, guys?
I have no idea. Y'all need to get on it.
So
you need to get on it.
So let's share that out there. Let's share that joy. Let's spread this positivity. Let's spread these healthy habits and gems to other people, because let me tell you something. There's been some beautiful souls out there who we've caught with at times that believe in the same thought process that we have, and it has been helpful for me to have a person say, hey, check this out. And it made such a huge stride in me developing my tools for what I need for me, my way.
Absolutely.
Through them. And I've personally reached out to different people for different reasons to say thank you. Right. And we've had that done here, and we want to pass that along, because you truly can make a difference in someone's life who's seeking real change. So please, like, understand the importance and the power behind that, because we are in this game to break these sort of barriers, generationally speaking.
That's big.
Yeah,
that's deep.
Yeah, my little ones personally.
Yeah,
I owe this to my children. I owe this to them. If this to be my legacy, for Jay's legacy, for your legacy, you owe it to those you love most. And you owe it more so to you, because you gotta love you first.
Gotta love you first. You gotta love you first. Self-love, man, it's a beautiful thing, especially when you're talking about the art of self-love. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Absolutely, man. So I guess that leads us going into next week's topic.
Well, sometimes it's a little bit tough to get to where you want to be. I mean, I know we talked about growth, we talked about patience, but God, sometimes, man, sometimes you just want to throw in the towel because it's just not your season. You're taking L's over. Man, look, you out the playoffs after week 3, bro. You just like, yo, I'm done. I can't do this. I want to give up. I want to close up shop. I'm gonna be a bum. It's too much work. It's too much work. I can't put too much time in this. I can't do XYZ. I can't reach out to this person. I can't. Forget that. Forget that can't word, bro.
I refrain from that in my vocabulary. I teach my daughter that same thing. And I think we've discussed it before, but the concept of losing, I don't embrace that. I learn. I'm not taking no more losses of the idea of that in this life. I'm not accepting that. I choose not to accept that. So I'll learn through so I can grow through what I'm going through.
It's all about overcoming, brother.
Yeah, you're right.
Man, next Sunday, we're going to discuss overcoming those mental barriers. Some of those mental barriers that keep us back from fulfilling our full potential, from getting towards our destiny, from growing, keeping us in a shell, just boxed up for so long because for whatever reason, you have been told not to believe in yourself. For whatever reason, you've been told that you are not good enough, that you will not last. This is not your time. Go back to wherever you came from. Just live a life without purpose. Just continue existing. Forget about living. Forget about living. It ain't for you. The world's gonna end soon. Y'all watch the news. I mean, the world's gonna end next week. What are we doing? What are we doing? Next week we'll discuss how to get over that. How to get over that hump. How to get over those mental barriers so you can unlock your absolute full potential and get on the true path that you were meant to walk down. Not anybody else. It ain't about them. It's about you. Just like that.
Well said, Jay. Yep.
Tune in next Sunday. And until next Sunday, it is your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
And then we'll see.
Peace.